Have you ever felt something so familiar in a place you've never been, or felt deeply connected to someone you just met and couldn't explain why? What if those feelings weren't just strange moments, but hidden memories from another lifetime? What if your soul has been quietly trying to remind you that this life is not your first? Everything you are today, every fear, every hidden talent, every sudden emotion that rises in your chest, and even that unexpected love that appeared out of nowhere is not an accident. It may feel surprising or even confusing, but none of it is random. Every detail of your life, from the way you think to the people you feel drawn to, belongs to a story that began long before you were born. This isn't just about fate or chance. It's about something much deeper. It's about the journey of your soul. It's about reincarnation. You might not remember where you've been before, but your soul does. Deep inside you, there are memories, emotions, and experiences from other lives. You've loved before. You've lost before. You've celebrated, suffered, created, and transformed. Your current life is only one chapter in a much longer story. And whether you're already a believer or still unsure, what you feel could be your soul softly knocking, asking you to remember who you really are. Reincarnation is one of the oldest spiritual ideas known to humanity. It existed long before the religions and empires we study in school. In very simple words, reincarnation means this: your life didn't begin when you were born, and it won't end when your body dies. You are more than your name, your age, or your past. You are a soul on a long journey. You are here now, but you've also been here before, in many different times, in many different forms. You've been the student, the teacher, the healer, the warrior, the mother, the child. Each life gave you lessons. Each life shaped who you are now. Maybe you've looked at a child and thought, how can someone so young be so wise? Maybe you've seen a teenager play an instrument like a master, or speak a new language like they've known it forever. Maybe you felt drawn to a certain country, time period, or culture without knowing why. These are the kinds of moments that make people pause and wonder, could it be that some part of us remembers? That what we call gifts or passions are really memories that never left? But if we really have lived before, why don't we remember it all? Why aren't we born with the names, places, and stories of our past lives? Many spiritual traditions say that we're born with a kind of veil over our soul. This veil helps us forget, not to punish us, but to protect us. Imagine trying to live your current life while carrying the pain, fear, and sorrow of many past lives. The heartbreak, the deaths, the regrets. It would be too heavy for most people. So we begin again, fresh and open, ready to learn new things. But sometimes, the soul lets little things slip through, a familiar feeling, a dream that feels too real, a connection that goes beyond words, a strange memory that doesn't fit anywhere in your life now. These aren't accidents, they're signs. I know because I've felt it too. I once traveled to a country I had never visited before. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know the culture. But the moment I arrived, I felt like I was home. The streets, the air, the way people moved and talked. It all felt familiar in a way I couldn't explain. I wasn't remembering something I'd read or seen in a movie. I was remembering with my soul. That country was England, more specifically, London. And to this day, I can't explain it with logic, but in my heart, I know I had been there before, and I'm not alone. Millions of people have felt something similar. You might have too. Once you start to see life through the lens of the soul, everything begins to make more sense. Your strengths, your fears, your relationships, your purpose, they all start to feel connected. Life no longer feels random. It feels meaningful. And the more you pay attention to those little signs, the more you start to understand that this life is not the whole story. It's just one chapter, a beautiful, important chapter, but not the only one. These signs from the soul can show up in many ways. Sometimes it's through déjà vu. You're in a place you've never been, and suddenly you feel like you've been there before. The air smells familiar. The light looks familiar. The sounds in the background feel like echoes from long ago. You might even know what's around the next corner without ever having been there. It's like your body and soul remember what your mind has forgotten. Some scientists say déjà vu is just a brain glitch, but those who felt it deeply know better. It's not confusion. It's not imagination. It's memory. Memory that lives in the heart, not the brain. I once heard about a woman who didn't believe in reincarnation at all. She was very logical and didn't think much about spiritual things. But one day, she visited a small, ancient village in another country. She had never been there before. But the moment she arrived, she felt a deep sense of peace and recognition. As she walked through the village, she knew where each road led. She didn't need directions. Her feet knew the way. When she reached a quiet square, she stopped and began to cry. She wasn't sad. She wasn't happy. She just felt this deep, powerful longing. Later, when she spoke to the locals, they told her that hundreds of years ago, that square used to have a beautiful fountain in the middle. It had been destroyed long ago, but she had described it perfectly. That's when she knew this was not her first time in that place. Her soul had brought her back. Sometimes the signs show up through people. You meet someone and feel like you've known them forever. The connection is instant. You don't need to try. You don't need to explain. They understand you. You feel safe around them, like you can be fully yourself. You laugh at the same things. You finish each other's thoughts. It feels like your hearts speak the same language. These are soul connections. In other lifetimes, you were close. You may have been friends, lovers, family, or even enemies who learned deep lessons together. And now, your souls have found each other again. Even if you just met today, the bond feels old. And it is. This kind of recognition can also happen with places. You might step into a town or city and feel completely at peace. You don't know why, but your body relaxes. Your breathing slows down. Your heart feels light. You feel at home, even though you've never been there. It's not about beauty. It's about energy. Your soul remembers what your eyes have forgotten. Other signs show up through natural talent or deep wisdom. Some people just seem to be born with certain gifts. They sing beautifully. They paint. They write. They lead others. Or they understand emotions in ways that seem impossible for their age. These aren't just lucky traits. These are signs that their soul has practiced these things before. They didn't learn it in this life. They brought it with them. I've seen this in my own life. My sister Letitia could draw amazing pictures before she was even 10 years old. No one taught her. She didn't go to art school. She just knew. When we asked her how, she said, "I feel how it's supposed to be, and I draw it." That's a soul remembering. Sometimes this wisdom shows up as emotional maturity. A child who can comfort others with the right words. A teenager who gives advice like someone who has lived for decades. These are not ordinary traits. They are echoes from another life. And then there are dreams. Not the usual strange, jumbled kind, but the kind that feel more real than reality. You wake up with emotions that don't make sense. You see places you've never visited, but you can describe them in detail. You live through moments that feel like memories instead of made-up stories. These dreams stay with you. They don't fade. They carry energy, meaning, and sometimes even pain. They might be your soul showing you who you were, what you did, and what you're still trying to heal or remember. All of these signs are ways your soul speaks to you. Not through loud voices or flashing lights, but through feelings, moments, and quiet truths. And the more you open your heart to these signs, the more clearly you'll hear what your soul is saying. You are more than this moment, more than your name, more than this life. You are a traveler of time, a carrier of wisdom, a soul that remembers. Sometimes, you see yourself in a place you've never visited, wearing clothes from another time, surrounded by people you don't know, and yet it all feels strangely familiar. These moments often come in dreams, but they can also happen when you're quiet, resting, or lost in thought. They don't always make logical sense, but something inside you says, "I've been here before." That's not your imagination. That's your soul remembering. When your mind relaxes, especially during sleep or calm moments, the usual walls around your awareness soften, and deeper memories begin to surface. These memories may come as quick images, full dreams, or strong emotions that don't match your current life. But deep down, they feel real. One woman once shared that she kept dreaming of living in an ancient village. She had never studied that time period, but the dreams were always vivid and detailed. Out of curiosity, she searched historical images and was stunned to find the same symbols, buildings, and clothing she'd seen in her dreams. That was her soul showing her something from a life before this one. These moments aren't random. They're echoes from the past, returning to guide and awaken you. Sometimes it's not a memory, but a fear that doesn't make sense. Fear of drowning without ever having been in danger. Fear of heights without ever falling. Claustrophobia even though you've never been trapped. These intense fears can appear in childhood and never go away. They weren't learned, they were carried. When the soul goes through something deeply painful in another life, it can leave behind an emotional imprint that travels with you. Your body reacts automatically, even if your mind doesn't understand why. These fears are your soul's way of protecting itself from repeating old wounds. But once you realize they might be echoes of another life, you can begin to heal them. Fear loses power when you bring it into the light. The more you understand it, the less it controls you. And when you release it, You free yourself from something that no longer belongs to this journey. Some people feel drawn to a certain time in history or a specific culture, not out of simple curiosity, but from a deep emotional connection. A feeling like longing, like homesickness for a life you've never lived, or maybe one you have. Whether it's ancient civilizations, medieval stories, or distant languages, these attractions often come from past life experiences. The soul recognizes what it has already known. Even stories and movies that reflect those times can stir something deep inside, like a forgotten part of you is waking up. It's not fantasy, it's memory rising. Some souls also carry the weight of many experiences, even while still young. You may feel older than your age, not in body, but in spirit. You might think deeply, prefer peace over noise, seek truth over trends. People often come to you for guidance without even knowing why. You don't need loudness to be heard. Your presence is enough. If this is you, you may be what people call an old soul. That simply means your spirit has walked through many lives, gathered wisdom, and now carries that quiet strength in this one. It may feel lonely sometimes, but it is a gift, a reminder of how far your soul has already come. In life, some experiences repeat. You may find yourself in the same kinds of relationships, facing the same emotional challenges, even when you try to make different choices. These repeating patterns are not just bad luck, they are signs. When a lesson hasn't been fully learned, it returns. Sometimes these lessons didn't begin in this life. They come from far away, from unresolved emotions or unfinished stories. Your soul keeps bringing you back to the same lesson until you're ready to change the outcome. And the moment you truly understand what life is trying to teach you, the pattern ends. That's when healing begins and freedom follows. Even with a full life, you might still feel that something is missing. A quiet restlessness that never goes away. It's not dissatisfaction. It's a deep inner knowing that there's more. Your soul remembers something greater. It remembers why it came here. That emptiness is not a flaw. It's a call. A reminder that your purpose goes beyond survival or routine. You came to awaken, to remember, to grow into something deeper. And that longing inside you is the soul's way of leading you forward. Some people feel everything more deeply than others. They can sense the mood in a room, pick up on emotions without anyone saying a word, and absorb energy so easily it can leave them drained. They are often overwhelmed in crowds, moved by beauty, and quick to cry. This sensitivity is not a weakness. It's a sign of a soul that has lived many lives. It's a strength that helps you understand, connect, and comfort others. But it also means you need to care for yourself. If you don't protect your energy, you may end up carrying emotions that aren't yours. That's why rest, boundaries, nature, and quiet are so important. When you take care of your sensitivity, it becomes a powerful gift. But when you neglect it, it becomes a burden. Balance is everything. You can offer love and still protect your peace. All of these signs, familiar dreams, unexplained fears, strong connections to the past, deep feelings, repeating patterns, constant seeking, and sensitivity to energy, are not meant to confuse or overwhelm you. They are here to help you understand who you really are. You are more than this one life. You are a soul that has lived through many stories, loved many people, learned many lessons, and now you are here carrying all of that with you. When you begin to see the signs, everything begins to make sense. Pain becomes a message. Cycles become lessons. Encounters become reunions. Your soul wants to move forward. It wants to remember, heal, and grow. And the more you listen, the more it will show you. So take a moment. Think about your life. What keeps returning? What feels strangely familiar? What fears or feelings seem to come from a deeper place? These are not random. They are your soul speaking. And if you feel called to share your story, do it. You never know who might hear it and say, "Me too." Your words might help someone else remember who they really are. And sometimes, all it takes is one honest story to help another soul come home to itself.